Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of OPNoobs. Should we cover it? I am your host, Steven, also known as Slave to Machine on Steam. So if you want to check out any of the wonderful trolling that I do there in the comments, you can absolutely do so. Today, I am joined by a smaller crew than usual, mostly because nobody wanted to be here, but that's understandable. To my sort of left, there is the Grand High Poobah and president of OPNoobs, Fred Breezy, with his lovely Ecto Cooler drink right in front of him there. Next to him is Chris Kellogg, the VP and slightly lesser Grand High Poobah of OPNoobs. We have DJ Sketch, who gets banned from a new game every week. We have Caitlin, part of the writing team, interview team, and all-around nice person with chemically unstable face, as she was talking about before we went live. And a lovely shade of whatever the hell that is. And then, finally, we have Alucard, who is playing The Division live on camera, just because he doesn't want to see anything that we have. So, we have a bunch of games today. We have the top 10 trailers that we could find, that we could tolerate, and we're going to go through each, and we're going to give our thoughts based upon the trailer that is presented, and we're going to decide, should we cover it, or no, we shouldn't cover it. And the fun part is, if you're in the chat, if you're watching, you probably are, you are going to have some sway over that. So you are going to get the opportunity to vote per trailer if we cover it or not. So, that being said, we should probably get to the very first one.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And so, you should be. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have Caitlin is going to read the description of the game, and then Chris, since I don't want to give it to Fred because we can't understand Fred, Chris, if you don't mind reading about the developer of the game, and let's hopefully get through this without too many issues. Are we ready?
Yeah, and can I say I'm so excited?
No! Yes!
I'm so psyched.
You are excited?
Like green juice.
Do we want to talk about how the voting is actually important now?
Oh, yes.
Are you talking about the voting in the politics aspect, or are you talking about the voting for the game? Because we kind of did
Everybody who's for Bernie Sanders, raise your hand.
That's not what I meant, Brad.
Oh,
That one, sorry.
Sorry.
That was not a vote.
McAfee 2016.
I meant about
I love
the
that.
changes.
I love that we have the guy on the couch.
Yeah. Well, that is
we
right.
have
That's
the
Dave
guy
on the couch. Say
You
hi,
always
Dave, on the
need-
couch.
Dave.
Hey,
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
So, like Caitlin said, yes, the voting actually matters now. So, you guys in the chat and everybody on camera, you are going to have the opportunity to actually dictate what we put on the site, which is what I said. But, yeah, so we're going to get to the first trailer right now. And the first trailer is Prio? Prius? I don't know, but let's find out more about the game. Caitlin?
I'm going to call it Prio, and according to Prio, it is a visually striking yet challenging platformer about manipulating the environment around you by toggling between red, yellow, and blue blocks in order to navigate through each level.
Chris?
And the only description we have here is that it is made by DanielDavisGames, who I imagine is probably a sole proprietor making this entire game by himself.
Where do you get that from?
Mostly from the invisibility of my knowledge pool that you don't have access to.
I do like the fact that somebody would just add games to his name and
Yeah, I know, it's pretty funny. It's just Daniel Davis Game. I mean, we could be like Project Breachy Games and be done. You're a studio.
Well, maybe that's
That
just
game
his
is
real
awful.
last name. Maybe
Everyone wants to play
his
that.
family is the games
Nobody
family.
wants
We
to
don't
play
know.
that.
It's a rip-off of the Micro Machines rip-off of Mario Kart.
Oh, it's just awful. With a French twist to the whole thing. You don't want to play that.
We totally could. This reminds me of the old vision tests in grade school to just follow the dot and whatnot. So, any thoughts? Anyone have a thought at all, ever? Caitlin?
I love the colors and the bounciness of it, so it's actually a pretty design. It's visually appealing.
It's like entertain your cat simulator.
Yeah.
Chris?
I mean, it looks like it's basically like kind of a classic like puzzle game that involves a little bit of physics. Because it looks like there's wall jumping, and that you have to toggle Tetris-looking blocks in and out so you can wall jump from block to block. Some have spikes on them, some don't. So it's kind of like a cross between a puzzle game and a platformer, which sounds kind of interesting. And the fact that there's like a wall jumping ball is kind of interesting. I'm kind of partial to wall jumping. Anything that's got wall jumping has got to be at least somewhat cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like Super Meat Boy minus the meat, right? That's kind of what
that's what you're saying there. Yeah, and it's like and it looks like you can control the environment too a little more.
Yeah. Fred, you look confused.
No, it looks fun. It looks well directed, for lack of a better word. I think it's pretty well constructed. There's definitely something to this. I'm kind of excited to review it. It looks basic. Obviously, it's not something you're like, wow, this is amazing. But in its simplicity, there is something to it. Something definitely mechanical, mathematical, that kind of, I'm sure, is going to attract a lot of people. And that's the PR in me speaking.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those rage quit style of games. Where
just watch Alucard absolutely not giving a rat's ass about that game and focusing on the division that the couch is playing right now.
It's actually totally awesome in the fact that Alucard is not actually here, but he's here.
No le importa nada.
What's really bad is I'm also playing Rocket League at the same time.
You're a jerk.
At the same time?
Ow.
Wow, that's
impressive.
Can I say that you gotta get off? You gotta stop with the whole Rocket League stuff.
What's wrong with Rocket League?
What? Go ahead. Make a community hate you. What are you gonna say?
Hey! Wait a second. That's my job, Fred. You can't make whole gaming communities hate you. But anyway, let's bring it on back to this game here. I like the fact that there's a level editor that kind of gives it a lot of extra replay, right?
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. I mean, having especially a game like this, and obviously so much depends on how well that level editor is made, but I can see like really enjoying making levels in this and challenging friends and doing fun stuff.
Sketch, you haven't said anything about this bouncing ball. What do you have to say about it?
He just can't wait to get his hands on it.
He can't. He's chomping at the bit.
I want it.
I mean, puzzle, what would you consider this, a puzzle type game, I guess, with some platformer aspects? I mean, neither have really been my forte as far as gaming. I mean, it seems colorful.
It's a stretch from Rainbow Siege, I'd give you that.
Definitely I'd have to say the stage editor definitely gives it a lot of replayability. You're seeing a lot of that coming into play, I guess, since, Mario Maker came out. People have been adding, like, stage creators within their games to give them a little more replay value, which is definitely a bonus. I can see this being kind of developing its own community just in that essence of people making their own stages and people trying to beat it.
All right, fair enough. So there's not a whole lot else we can say about this. The trailer will probably loop for the rest of our lives. So what do you think? Should we cover it? Should we not cover it? Let's go around and then get some opinions from the chat as well. Fred, I'm going to start with you.
It's a tough call. It's a tough call because we still have 10 games to go. Actually, we have 11 games this week instead of 10. I want to say yes. I want to say yes. I want to cover this. My vote is yes.
Chris?
Yeah, it looks really polished, and it definitely looks like a classic indie title, and I actually feel like I'm seeing some new elements here I haven't seen before, and I think for all of those reasons, this makes a great candidate to review. It might be a short but sweet game, I'm hoping. I say it might be short, but I'm hoping it's also sweet, so yeah.
Caitlin?
I'm hoping that whoever we give this to review doesn't want to murder themselves by the end, because it kind of looks a little tough. But then again, it's a platformer, so you should want to murder yourself at the end.
So is that a yes or a no?
It's a yes.
Okay.
I like them.
Sketch, not your cup of tea, but what do you think?
I would say yes, only if maybe you can find out a little bit more about the developer, considering what we only had a name, if I'm not mistaken.
DanielDavisGames.
So maybe I would say if you can get some more information on about the developer, or maybe even if you could possibly get an interview, I don't know, then yes. If not, I don't think so. That's just my personal thing, though.
Okay.
You know,
Alucard doesn't even care.
Sorry.
I just scored 2 goals.
Sorry.
Okay,
never mind.
You're an asshole.
I
Sorry.
cleared this whole area. You don't understand.
Sorry to butt in on this, but actually, when it comes down to doing an interview on this, I'm kind of all for it. I love to. We've never done this type of interviews, actually, Steven. Out of all the stuff that we kind of covered, as far as style, genre, mechanics, like what it takes to build a game, and what motivates you to build a game like this. I think that's a very interesting insight on the mind of Daniel Davis and many other game developers who are kind of following his trend.
If we can track him down, that's the thing.
Oh, well, I'll track him down.
Oh,
You don't worry about that. I'll track him down.
That's a frightening prospect. So far, we've got a number of people on the call right now that say that we should cover it. I think we're probably going to cover it no matter what. It sounds like there's no opinion in the chat, or we'll just get back to you guys. But I think we're probably going to end up covering it. So let's move on to the next one. My Tower, My Home. I feel like we're starting poetry. Caitlin, tell us about My Tower, My Home.
My tower, my home. Fight tooth and nail to defend the tower core. Your home. In My Tower, My Home, players put themselves in the shoes of an unnamed hero to resist hordes of brutal mechanic enemies that will do the impossible to destroy your home. Kill enemies, gain gold and experience, buy upgrades, buy tower defenses, and build a strategy to counterattack.
Chris, do we know anything about these people?
Yes, we do. Shoor Games is located in La Plata, Argentina. Is formed by Fernando Barba, Manuel Nunez Barcia, both of whom graduated as multimedia designers, and Juan Zick, who is a programmer since the age of 12 and is also a student of multimedia design. Sorry, this is like super weirdly formatted. We are a small indie video games company. We use all of our academic knowledge and years of playing games to create titles focused and fun. We do the games we would pay to play. I like that. We would do the games we pay to play.
We did have a developer on recently that said that they essentially only make games that they themselves would like to play. And that's something that I think is kind of lacking in a lot of games nowadays. So what do we think about My Tower, My Home? Fred?
Yeah, actually, I have a couple of statements to make on this.
Oh, God.
First of all, it looks great. If you're thinking arcade PC gaming style, this is really well built. The trailer is really showing you gameplay, which is something I appreciate. Out of all the trailers we see, this guy like didn't shy away from actually showing you what the game is all about, what you're going to spend your money on, and by the time you're done with the gameplay, I'm sure a lot of gamers who are attracted by arcade games are going to be sold on this. Here's my one reservation, and I think that's a topic for conversations, because I'm probably wrong on what I'm about to say. I'm not too sold on anything that's arcade-like and is almost, I want to say, you're force-feeding the gamer some RPG elements which really aren't necessary. When you want to play an arcade game that's from the indie scene, that's fast-paced, that's constructed, are you really looking to build a specific build, or really like specialized, or are you really trying to invest 5-6 hours into the game, have a blast, not think about it, and really rely on the basic mechanics of a game to have some fun? So my only reservation with this is the fact that they're advertising RPG elements into an indie arcade game, basically.
I think that's fair. Wait a sec. Oh yeah, there we go. So I think it's actually kind of fair, because I've seen a lot of indie games that do this kind of gameplay, and they just give you the RPG element of being able to build your own character, make them stronger, make them faster. There was a indie game I played maybe last year or 2 years ago, Risk of Rain, where every time you killed something, you got stronger, and they threw more enemies at you. So
it was kind of like automated.
Yeah, you killed a bunch of stuff, you got experience, and you could pick from any number of skills, like 2 or 3 set skills that you could improve upon. You know, kind of like Diablo. And it was really actually kind of fun. We also did a game, Fortified, did the same thing, whereas a tower defense game, you could level up your skills. So I'd rather have that kind of progression and have it get progressively harder. So that kind of thing is totally fine to me. Chris, you had your hand up.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely inspired by Metal Slug, and that's a great game. And it kind of seems like they took Metal Slug and maybe made it a little more hyper with like more intense graphics and maybe the action's a little faster, and then added some RPG mechanics, which from what I'm seeing, at least they showed some of the skill trees. They don't look super in depth. It's probably just something that unlocks a few powers, maybe something that makes you jump higher. It doesn't seem like it's like really hardcore into the RPG mechanics. So I think as long as the focus is on the action and that the RPG mechanics kind of just augment the action, you know, it's better. And honestly, action games that kind of feed you slowly but surely your powers end up being the ones that are kind of the best. Like when I think of like Shadows of Mordor was a good example of that, where like you start out pretty weak and then by the end you're like a total massive badass, but you had to earn that badassery. And so if the game's gonna follow that kind of path, I'm all for it. But you know, I hear what Fred's saying is sometimes it's better to focus on what you're best at. If they don't do the RPG mechanics well, then it's all for naught.
That's understandable. And plus they've got a purple lizard as apparently an enemy, so I kind of like that giant purple lizard. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame Shane's not here, because he'd totally agree with me. You always got to have a purple lizard in your game.
It's true.
You just have to. So, that being said, Caitlin, thoughts?
I think it's really
Automatic win.
cute. I think it's really adorable. I like how color, like, again, I love color. I'm a sucker for color, but I love how the guy is a silhouette. I have played games specifically for the character being a silhouette before. But I also noticed the targeting reticle for all the shooting and the bullet hell sort of stuff. Like, it's actually like mouse controlled. So this looks arcadey, but it's a PC game, and I really like that about it.
Yeah. Fred, you had your hand up. I'm not going to call on Alucard because he's busy blowing stuff up and hitting balls and stuff.
Yeah, because I kind of actually, I disagree with Chris. First of all, Caitlin, I don't know if I define this game as cute. For me, badass would be more like a great term. Again, the game looks fantastic. We definitely need to cover this. This is very interesting. I'm curious to see how much fun it is. But the whole RPG, see, like I started playing The Division, and when I dive into The Division, I know for a fact that this is something that is going to ask me 60 hours at the minimum to really get into the game. And so when the RPG elements and the learning curve that is required to really master the RPG element is something I look forward to. It's something I'm going to be excited about, obviously, because I'm going to think, okay, yeah, well, I'm going to invest 60 hours of my life, which is no small thing, into this game. I want a progression that's kind of taking me through a specific build, that's going to build up my character in a specific way, that's going to engage me to go on a browser and figure out what are the best builds out there and all that. Then I see a lot of that kind of model being replicated for mobile games, and I don't know that it works as well. I think when people are trying to get into arcade style games, you shouldn't build a game with the idea that somebody is gonna get really addicted to this and play this hundreds of hours. Because the fact is, 95, if not 98% of PC gamers are kind of going to give this a ride for 3, 4, 5 hours. And if anything, Chris, I hate to say it, but to relate back to Super Hot, that's probably what they did well. They gave you a 3-hour experience that's fast-paced, that's not asking you to really commit to a learning curve, a special build, and just fun arcade-style game. You're going to finish in 3 hours, and you're going to conclude, well, it was kind of expensive for what it was, but I had a blast for 3 hours, so maybe that's worth it. See, I guess what I'm saying is, like, I don't understand... I don't understand the decision behind making the game. The moment you bring in RPG elements, you're essentially believing that your game has longevity.
I'm trying to figure out what longevity is. Chris, I think he was directing that at you. I mean, I gotta disagree with Fred simply because this isn't like a big epic RPG element. It's allowing
That's
you
my
to.
point.
It's just adding the ability to increase your skill level or to increase your skills. There's no actual story that I can tell. It's stuff wants to kill you. You got to kill it before it makes you dead. Chris, do you have anything to say to that? And then we're going to move on.
I'll keep it short because I know we want to move on. But basically, I just want to say, the action RPG has been around for a real long time. Some of my favorite games ever made are action RPGs, and I think that there's nothing wrong with adding some good old-fashioned RPG mechanics to an action game. I usually find that it just makes the whole experience just. He's right. You are right about one thing. It does give it some longevity, but in some ways, it helps pace it a little bit. Because some games, if they give you all the awesome shit they thought of at once, you just have a really awesome experience, at the beginning, but you wouldn't really appreciate what they've created because you'd just be going around blowing crap up and not really taking anything in around you. And I think that when you add RPG mechanics, it slows the gameplay down a little bit, does add some longevity, but I think it also gives you a finer appreciation for it. It'll just let you. Shadows of Mordor, I'll always bring that up as an example because I know it's
but that's a different game.
That's a great example of
an AAA 60-hour game, Chris.
But I think it's fine though. If I've played Flash games and I only played for half an hour that had RPG mechanics, and they were awesome. Galaxy was a game I reviewed that probably had 15 hours of gameplay and that had RPG mechanics built in from the beginning, and it was great because your ship starts weak and you get more powerful, and it even worked into the storyline.
Chris, what would your mom say?
What would my mom say?
Yeah, you gotta think.
You leave her out of this, Fred.
My mom would probably say, "Wow, I have no idea what any of this means."
His mother is a saint.
She's a nice lady.
She's a great woman. I just want to state it as a fact.
But anyway,
he's always pulling his mom out when he needs to. He's like, "Oh, my mom is a PC gamer too."
All right, fine. But this isn't for moms. Moms don't play RPGs, nor do they play action RPGs. My mom do, at least.
But anyway, that being said, let's bring us on back here. So the question is, should we actually cover this? I mean,
yes.
I say yes. Chris? That's a yes. Caitlin? Obviously, because you like the depth and stuff. DJ? Haven't heard from you. What do you think? Should we cover it? No? Yes?
I think you should, just because I am a multimedia and design student, just as these developers are, so I'd say I'm all for it just because I'm in support of multimedia designers, so yes.
Okay.
What does the guy on the couch say?
The guy on the couch is too busy. He doesn't care right now. No, he totally doesn't care. So we're probably going to cover it. I think that's the vote on that, so we're just going to move on to the next trailer.
By the way.
Awesome. A guy on couch. We're going to go with his seal of approval.
Thumbs up.
Awesome.
Thumbs up.
Nice. So we're going to move on to the next game.
He's loving it.
He is, actually. He's going to steal the show. I guarantee it. The next game is Pharaoh Rebirth Plus. I was so excited because I thought maybe that meant Sierra was coming back. But, Caitlin, tell us what this is.
An ancient evil has been set loose, and Jonathan cursed in the process. Jonathan must now collect 7 holy grails from all of Egypt to cleanse himself of the curse of Sahur the First. Be delighted by the quirky humor, charming characters, and the beautifully designed world in Pharaoh Rebirth Plus.
Chris, what do we know about these people?
So, this is another strangely worded one, but I like doing them verbatim because they're always awesome. October 1st, 2015. Kadokawa Corporation, Kadokawa Dwango Corporation that make up the group to indicate strongly the management integration of Dwango Company Limited, in and out. Both companies of sound. Ka-do-ka-wa, doa coral, spelled phonetically. When New Witch is a combination of it became a company name, Kadokawa Co. Limited. Kadokawa advances the startup of new businesses that take advantage of the synergy of Kadokawa and Dwango. We will further the aims of the IT company that originated the research and service unparalleled in the world. Unparalleled. That's all I got.
Fun. Chris, since you and I are apparently the unashamed, unabashed Nintendo lovers, are you feeling some pretty much all SNES side-scrollers from this game?
This is Sega stuff all the way. This is Sega influences all the way. And
I'm seeing some Strider.
If anything, Nintendo picked up on Sega on this and stole the show. This is killer, by the way. And I hate to steal the microphone from Chris, but I'm going to. If you're thinking this is Nintendo, you're wrong. This is Sega, and then Sega went away, and Nintendo probably grabbed it.
You mean Nintendo?
Yeah, that's totally how the history worked.
Yeah, that's totally not how it works at all.
You are so
One day Sega was just like, I'm out. left.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog, man. This is like what Sonic the Hedgehog brought to.
Sonic
But
the
he's right,
Hedgehog
well, to be
didn't
fair,
do this.
See, like the Casino Nights thing.
You're an
Okay,
asshole, it
maybe
did.
that one. Wait, that literally was assets from Casino Night Zone.
Yeah,
wasn't
that
it?
was Casino Nights. That was a
You
background.
guys are Nintendo
Sonic the Hedgehog.
fanboys.
No. Fred, you have some legitimacy here. It looks like they lifted assets from
I'm
Sonic
always
the
right.
Hedgehog on that. No,
I'm always
not
right.
always.
This is
Yeah, you
absolutely
actually
Sega's
kinda got lucky
influence.
on this
Yeah,
one.
this is Sega's
Anyway,
influence.
this I'm a retro nut. I totally support this. Chris, what were you gonna say before Fred stole the mic?
Well, I was gonna make some, sarcastic statement about he doesn't know anything about Nintendo, but I instead will say that actually I think he's right. It's got some kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog roots here. I think their logo is even adopted a logo of a developer from back then, and some of the attacks are very similar to stuff that I remember seeing in Mega Man. And it looks like I even saw something look kind of like Aladdin there. Like it really does look like they pulled together a lot of different retro games and combined them into one. I mean, I'm even seeing his ears lash forward like a whip, which is something that happened in Earthworm Jim. And so I'm just seeing every side scroller that we ever played before the year 2000 in this game, which could be awesome, but it's also just like I'm getting a little side scroller fatigue.
So here's the problem that I have, and I love everything that this is, but here's my quick question. I know Fred's going to love this. Is this just a situation where it's just hitting all the right retro feels, and it might literally just be a copy-paste? Fred?
I would give this game a 90 to 95 before we even review it. Just from the trailer, this is
because it looks like Genesis.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Because it looks a lot like Genesis.
This is badass. Like just from the trailer, I know I would have a lot of fun playing this. This is everything that PlayStation Vita should be doing and is not doing. This is cool. This is very. And I like the one thing that at first was like, what the F is this thing? Is when they said, oh, get attached to the endearing characters and stuff, and I was like, well, that's a bunch of PR BS, and it was terribly put together, by the way, the game description. But then you actually stop and you look at the game, and it's nothing like this. Still, it's kind of ironic in an endearing way to use Caitlin's word. It was cute to say, the endearing character. He's the only endearing character is the fact that you've got a bunny in the middle of the screen. But outside of that, I'm totally sold on this. For me, this looks great.
I don't even care if they did a bad job on the description. It looks like all the awesome is in the game, and they just didn't care about the rest of it. That inventory screen makes me cringe a little bit.
And I don't know why you think it's not a Sonic Hedgehog.
I don't want to have the unpopular opinion, but I don't think we should cover this.
Oh, why?
What is your problem?
Why? Because there's nothing new about it. There's nothing exciting about it. I could pick up any crazy platformer and play the same thing. We don't need this. So why are we covering this? Why?
That is a legit question. That kind of builds off what I said. Why should we cover this compared to everything else that we've seen? What makes this stand out other than the fact that it's a combination of all the awesome that we elders remember from the 16-bit era? Sketch. Have a thought.
I do. I mean, there's a lot of... there's so much nostalgia just within this game that I see. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything in it, like, which is... I mean, I like that, but I'm kind of on the side with Caitlin, like, yes, it has a lot of great things, but then again, those great things are what the games that before it made those great. And I don't know if just adding, like, I guess a skin and maybe some minor good other mechanics to it is enough to constitute a review. But not to say the game's like terrible or anything, because it looks beautiful. There's a lot of nostalgia to it. I just don't know if it's worth reviewing, because it seems like it's just a reskin with every good thing, added to it.
Hey, Jazz Hands, what do you have to say?
I have to say, DJ, I'll forgive you because you don't come on these shows. You just started to come on this show regularly. But Caitlin, you are without apologies. After the amount, we've been doing this show for 6 months now. The amount of crap that we see every week, and we look at it and we go like, we really try and be like very PR oriented and try to find something nice to say about some specific games. Like this stands, as far as indie goes, this stands in a one-man show because it's probably done by just one guy. This stands on a such higher level than the stuff we regularly see from very, very small productions.
Can we talk about the studio background for just a second? I mean, that wasn't even, it just doesn't even make sense. What the heck is Kadokawa Corporation, Kadokawa Dwango? Like, what is
It does not.
What does that matter?
It does not need to make sense.
I mean,
It does not need to make sense. Steven and I agree, oddly.
I'm not saying it needs to make sense, but we're not just going to stand around and say, oh, maybe this was made by one guy. This was just like made by some bizarre company somewhere in Asia. That's all I'm saying.
It could honestly be, well, it could honestly be one guy masquerading as a company. It could be, you know, maybe he hired a bunch of people, killed them, buried them in his backyard, and this is the game that came out. I have no idea.
God,
they
that's
could be
so
on.
And don't forget that your editor-in-chief came out of Asia, so don't you bash the Asians.
Hey, he could have them all in canopic jars. Maybe he just really likes Egypt that much. Maybe he mummified them all. Caitlin.
My point is, I'm not here to bash it. I don't think it's terrible. That's not the point. I'm just saying, with the new order of things, we're covering 5. Why is this one of the 5? Why don't we interview the guy and ask about the production? Why don't we approach it in a different way? Because we've reviewed so many games exactly like
But
this.
that's, if I can actually plug in the new model, if we cover the games we decide to cover, we're gonna get the developers on Twitch. And I want to get the developer on Twitch, I want to get a review, I want to get some dual streams.
It's going to be another.
I want to do it
But Fred,
all. I want to do it all.
We got a
Another
thing.
language.
We got a thing, though. We have a tie on this of everybody that's on the call. We've got a number of people that say yes, a number of people that say nah.
No.
We need somebody
This is
to
not
either.
a democracy.
We need somebody in the chat to break this tie, whether it's going to be a yes or a no. You guys gotta decide, but
Ricardo,
Gotta move on.
Oh,
Alucard's
yeah,
not
you
even
just
there.
gotta say
Guy
his
on the couch. Guy on the couch.
Get
What
on
is
the
your
couch.
Alucard,
Take
you
a look
gotta
at
ask,
this.
Something.
Take a look at this game.
just gonna ask him, should we cover it? And whatever he says.
Flying
I
rabbit.
fucking love the guy on the couch, by the way. It's epic.
They need
We
What?
work every day for
He
that
said
guy.
he said he's sold.
He's sold.
Yes, guy on the couch.
Guy on the couch makes the call.
Guy on the
He
couch.
likes cheesy games like
Just so
that.
we know, we've already agreed to cover 3 out of these 10 games. So
That's
that means
right.
out of the next 7, we have to pick 2. I don't.
That's
No,
right.
because the actual new rotation begins not this week but the next week, so we can go pause out.
beautiful.
We can go pause out.
So Fred is going to make an executive decision to screw the whole idea of covering only 5.
Yesterday's fantastic meeting that we had on TeamSpeak.
Yes, for everyone
No,
so
but
polite.
Fred, you had all these great ideas. Why aren't we following them today?
Oh,
Because you wanna
they were
cover
good ideas
everything.
yesterday.
Caitlin,
Yes,
doesn't Gary need you or something?
It's because Fred is a Trump supporter, so he has to flip flop like his idol. So we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on. Oh,
Or
don't
Shane when you need him.
Chris, don't support that because nobody knows where Bernie is right now. It's like where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? So we're gonna move on, and we're gonna move to the next game, which I'm gonna be really silent on. The next game is Age of Magic collectible card game. Y'all know how I feel about those.
You're gonna be quiet.
Tell us, Caitlin, about this card game.
Age of Magic is an online collectible card game with an MMO twist. Master 4 powerful classes and build your deck using unit cards from 5 distinct races. Extend your collection and upgrade them. Defeat evil forces in an exciting PvE campaign and take on a powerful AI opponents with up to 2 players in dungeons. Then show off your deck building, playing skills, and claim victory over your fellow players in the arena.
Show that.
Chris, what is this thing? Who made
so-
it?
All we have is
Such an asshole.
QianZhiHuDong Network Technology Company Limited. I did Google these folks, and I didn't get anything better than just the name. So all I can tell you is that they exist, and they probably exist somewhere in Asia, which is not a problem. Okay with that. And that's unfortunately all I got. I'm sorry.
Believe in the heart of the cards.
So So we do appreciate the fact that they do exist. We do tend to have that as one of our base requirements that they
Basic
actually
criteria
exist.
is existing, yes.
Yeah. So,
But do we think it
Chris-
should exist? Is the better.
Chris, go ahead. I'm not gonna say a word.
So
What do you think?
I'm gonna be honest. I think this looks kind of just bad. I mean, this just looks kind of pointless. It's another trading card thing, grab. I'm not against trading card games as games, but the ones I'm not gonna be honest. All I ever played was Magic, and I still play the paper version too. So I think that when you play a card game, and I think I've always said this, that when you play a card game online that doesn't actually have any physical cards at all, I feel like you're losing something, because part of the fun is the collecting, the having, the booster packs, all of that. I love all of that, and that's not here. And I don't give a shit about digital booster packs. Like, it doesn't count that you got 10 randomly generated cards. And rarity on an online trading card game is already so bogus as it is, and it's just so hard to buy into a new system when Wizards of the Coast have been doing a great job for decades. They have a great gaming system. They come out with new rules for Magic all the time. What the hell?
I'm
are
just
these
gonna
people
say
gonna do?
black
Yeah,
blue deck. Yeah. Awesome.
black blue. Just
But so that's a no. Caitlin.
I don't know.
I'm gonna
I
say
don't.
that's-
I can't say I really like online collectible card games all that much, especially since Paladin screwed me over. I just hurt too bad. And then, but this does look interesting, but at the same time, it's really situational. Situationally interesting. That's what I think. I've never played Hearthstone for like the reason where I just would rather play Magic in person with people in front of me.
DJ, this is totally in your wheelhouse, right?
This looks like a failed Flash game or something. It's like Chris Kellogg kind of, just said it all there. Like, Wizards been doing it great, and even with Hearthstone kind of being like the head runner in the I guess online, tradable card game. This just has like no appeal. It doesn't look good at all. It's also got looks like turn-based crap to it. I mean, I don't think it's worth reviewing, let alone anyone even giving it a shot, to be honest. This just has no appeal in my opinion.
Fred?
Can we get I'm gonna be quick. Can we get a fact check on this is for iPad? No, it's gotta be. And if it's for iPad, it's probably okay. It's probably a 6 or 6.5. It's not a PC game. It's not a PC game.
It's totally a game that you could, any of these card games you could probably play on an iPad or an iPhone. So yeah, Chris, did this thing start on mobile? Because we know how much Fred loves that.
I'm doing a little research here. I found it on Game Watcher. There's not a lot of information about this game. It seems pretty hard to find. Let me just do a quick Steam search.
Well, we lost the guy on the couch, so I think that pretty much
we
scares
lost
it.
the guy on the couch.
Yeah, it's a PC.
Why do you think he left?
I mean,
I'm sorry. We're gonna get a better trader.
I feel
Let's
really,
move on.
really
Let's
bad.
get the guy on the
I
couch
feel
back.
so I feel
Yeah.
so
Let's
bad about that. So I think it's gonna be a no.
oh,
I'd
by
love
the
to
way, I
get
should
Fritz, and
mention
I
that
see
it's
that's
an
why.
MMO and it's free to play.
Can I do a shameless plug?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's why I'm excited about April 1st. What's going on April 1st, Steven? April 1st is when we do the Should We Coverage show with 8 developers coming to talk about this type of stuff. Looking at all the trailers coming out for the entire next month, I would love to get Chris Natsume commenting on a game like Age of Magic trailer and giving us his full feedback on what it means for PC gaming as a whole. This is gonna be fantastic.
Because Natsumi was very outspoken, and I think that would actually be fun. So they actually believed us that we're going to do something on April 1st?
Yeah,
on
it's
April
happening.
Fools? Really?
Yeah, full
Yeah.
house.
So it's not a joke or anything like that? I actually have to show? Alright.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, so
I'm
you don't
feeling
do it.
kind of
I'm
bad about the fact that
Yes.
we just made people sit through a trailer for a collectible card game, so we should probably give something away, don't you think, Fred?
Not yet. We've got 2
Are
more.
you sure?
Yes, we've got 2 more trailers to go. 2 more
Oh,
trailers to
but
go
no, you
before
said
Broken-
after 5.
Yeah, but
We're
it's actually
at that
but I
point.
forgot the simple fact that we're covering 11 games tonight instead of 10, so we're gonna
Oh,
do it after
so
6.
we lied. Awesome. Okay, so let's move on to the
We
next one.
lied.
Mech Anarchy Online. I can almost taste the mech. Tell us about this, Caitlin. Maybe.
Will do. Mech Anarchy is an action-packed, fast-paced, top-down shooter created by intense gamers for intense gamers. Arcade-style shooting with near-limitless customization makes no two battles alike. Supporting up to 10-player local and online play, Mech Anarchy supports all kinds of gamers with a pick-up and get-into-the-action mentality.
And,
Chris, do we know what these guys are about?
Yes, we do, and it's nicely written this time. Ignition Games. They have developed or are currently developing titles in the FPS, RTS, flight sim, and MMO genres. We primarily develop for the PC, but are actively working with other platforms to reach out to as many types of gamers as we can. Ignition Games uses the Torque 3D game engine by Garage Games LLC and has been using their products since the founding of the company in 20. They were founded in the year 20. Yes. It's a very old game. Are you still considered an indie game studio if you've been around for over 1900 years?
Well, if there's still an indie game studio after that long?
I mean, I really hope that in 1900 years from now, we still have more than, 17 viewers on Twitch. So.
Games were basically just pebbles and dirt back in year 20, weren't they?
That's right. Didn't they play like on the Abacus? And anyway.
Pretty much. So we've got one opinion in the chat that basically says ew, which I think is pretty fair. Caitlin, what do you think?
I am loving this music. I kind of want to go to the club and hear this. But other than that, I don't care, and I don't think we should cover it.
Caitlin? All right, so Chris?
I am loving this music.
I just put the music on.
Yeah, how you feeling about the music?
Sorry, I was having problems finding the music myself. Music won't play for me.
Right,
Yeah,
so
it's just everybody can hear it now. It's sounding awesome.
It's kind of cool, I won't lie. Maybe, Chris, there's really no music at all. Maybe we're just all bullshitting you.
I feel like this, in fact, is this even a real show? Am I on
No.
TV?
No, this is not a real show.
You've been punked. You've been punked.
Oh, God damn it.
God, that means Ashton Kutcher's gonna show up. Shit. No, seriously though, Fred, what do you think about this thing?
Next.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay, that's
Next. Absolutely.
Tell me how you really
Quick,
feel.
Next.
all right. I think that's a
I don't even know
resounding
what
probably not.
I don't even know why he made it out there.
Because hey, if the card game made it on,
I'm
just saying.
emulating Stylomax tomorrow.
The Should We Fire Stylo show next.
He just throws
not
darts
a top
at
10.
games and says, "Oh, that one's good."
So we're gonna move on to Tiny Knight, not to be confused with Shovel Knight, a far better game. Tiny Knight, what is this thing about?
Our little hero lives in a peaceful village, which comes under attack on a fateful night. After seeing our village destroyed, you set out on an adventure to stop the mysterious attacker from wreaking havoc among the rest of the province. You must travel through dense forests, navigate caverns and dungeons, and cross snowy peaks. However, this will prove most difficult, as the mysterious attacker is not the only danger you will encounter on your journey.
Chris, do they exist?
So they do exist. All we've got is Convex Games. And searching for that in Google proves tricky because there's a lot of things that are convex out there. So I don't think we've got anything, unfortunately. But could I make a comment on the game?
Yes.
That'd be okay. I take a look at this and it becomes reminiscent a little bit of Wind Waker, or kind of like just the idea of like Kid Link running around in a little adventure dungeon.
Yeah.
Except that Kid Link actually walked on the ground.
Yeah, this guy kind of looks like he's floating, doesn't he? Oh, weird. Yeah, he does look like he's floating.
And the heart is kind of health system is kind of reminiscent of Zelda 2.
Yeah, and look, he's got some kind of diamonds that kind of resemble rupees. Although I think he's got lives. Is that what I see in the bottom right-hand corner?
Top left looks like it's his life bar because he just died in that.
Or I should say, like, I guess that's his health bar, but I think he's got lives in addition.
Yeah, Caitlin.
Can we just talk about how incredibly visually appealing, and I'm going to use the word cute again, but freaking adorable it looks. I want to play this. Like,
Okay.
I'm looking at it and I feel like I want to play it. I don't even know that much about it, but look how pretty it is. Like, look at all of the detail. I mean, yeah, he's floating, but it's just a quality we don't usually see when we're on this show, okay?
You're
Are
right.
you
I don't
shitting
see
me,
a lot of
Caitlin? What did
floating
you
heroes.
smoke tonight? Like, seriously.
Oh.
Like, what did you smoke?
You know
bashed
what it
the
is?
game that
No.
actually looks good, and
Okay.
then you look at this deficient
Fred,
game. It's a
I
deficient
like this
game.
one, though.
Oh, I
Okay,
agree
number
with
one. Number two, it's your new policy, Fred. If we're only going to cover a certain number, I'm going to be a lot more harsh.
This is a hard no for
It's
me.
fair. No, she makes a good point. You know, that we're covering fewer games, and this is just practice for next week when we're actually only going to cover 5. And I actually agree, though, too. It's the visual. It's got a visual appeal to it. Not all the levels, I think, are done
Guys
quite
are Nintendo
but-
suckers, like, to an
But,
extent.
you know, there's
that
something
is
to be said
beyond
for
acceptable.
stylized graphics. You know, not everything's got to
this
be
is
at
not
1,000
stylized.
frames
This
per
is a-
second at 1,000,000 pixels.
And I
not
swear
everything
to-
got to have
oh
ultra
my-
HD.
Nobody said that. All the games I complimented in the first couple trailers where you actually told me, hey Fred, slow down, you actually want to cover it all. They said no, because all these games do not compare to anything close to The Division, Tomb Raider, The Witcher, you name it, but they had their value. I'm sorry to say, when you present a game that looks like this, it's a problem. It's cute.
Yeah,
I give you
I
that.
worry about the gameplay
It's
much
cute
more
on
than-
the wallpaper. It's not well animated. It's not well produced. It's not. No. This is rushed. This
But
is rushed.
can you
The
watch it
snow
on an
level looks
8K
great.
screen? That's the question.
This
So,
is rushed.
so that being said, Chris, what are your thoughts specifically on this thing? Does it look like it's out too early?
I hear a little bit of what Fred's saying. I feel like it does look a little rushed. He's right on that count because
I mean,
what
he's
I
floating.
see, what I see
This
is
is we've interviewed publishers and developers who talk about what happens when a
Because
game
this-
like that gets released, and
this was consistent.
usually these are contracted gigs. So a publisher wants to make a game, they hire a developer, they give him a deadline that they can possibly cope with. They come out with it's targeted for kids, for a small audience. They're gonna make their money off of kids in a specific region of the world. The developer, I'm not even shitting on the developer. I'm more shitting on the mechanics that are at play here from a business standpoint.
maybe we don't know any of
Like-
that for certain though. I mean, that's all
No, we don't know any
speculation.
of that. But the fact is, you're releasing a product that is not finished. And it's not, it's cute because why? Because it's toonish, because it reminds you of Zelda, because the
Well,
guy's
I
got
think some
blonde
of the-
hair
I
and
think
he
some
looks.
of the gaming worlds look nice. I think I saw a few gaming worlds that look great. I thought the snow level looked excellent. I thought the forest looks excellent. There's a town level that looks excellent. There's a mining level that looks excellent. But then, of course, there's like this graveyard scene that looks trashy. There's a few other scenes I saw that looked really inconsistent. So what I see is that this game has potential, but that I'm fully in agreement that this game looks rushed. I
So
agree.
basically,
That's my,
we're
point.
some of
That's
this
my
looks
only point.
so this is probably going to be a situation where the game, in its current state, let's say that, in its current state, should we review it? So far, we've got a no, a no, a no.
So, I think there are better time spent on other games.
Guy on the couch is absent, so we're going to mark his ballot as absent. DJ,
John,
thoughts?
Who knows what he's doing?
We lost him.
But my thing is that if I want to play Wind Waker or a Zelda game, I
Play
will play
Wind
Wind Waker or a Zelda game, like hands down. This just looks like like everyone's been saying, a rushed product. And in its current state as it is, I don't think it constitutes being reviewed.
Okay, so
Thank you,
that's...
DJ.
So far, it sounds like it's a resounding no. I mean, I'm on the fence, so I'm going to abstain. We've got 2 yeses in the chat. I'm afraid that in this Fred-tatorship, we're going to have to stick with a no on this one.
I like
And
that.
so, to
Banana
apologize...
Fred.
To apologize for the fact that Fred has made this a Fred-tatorship, I think we should probably do a giveaway.
I think it's time for a giveaway.
I think it is time for a giveaway. Let's do that.
We're gonna ask the cracked out Caitlin tonight to think of a number between 0 and 100, and hopefully she can remember the number despite the crack. Caitlin, think of a number between 0 and 100 right now.
I think the number should be
101.
And we are going to give away Broken Age. We are going to give away Broken Age with Caitlin, who's got a number. So now you're going to think in the chat of a number between 0 and 100, and you are going to plug it into the Twitch channel. Whatever number comes closest to the to the number that Caitlin has in her head, you are going to be the lucky winner. So Caitlin, I guess we can go through another trailer. Meanwhile, Caitlin,
I guess we could.
pay
And
attention to the chat. Make sure you know who wins it. And
we totally
let's roll.
won't. All right, so the next game is going to be Void Raiders, which sounds like a
Like a
guild.
StarCraft unit. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Caitlin, what in the world is this about? Is it space? Oh, please tell me it's not space. It's space, isn't it?
Void Raiders is a sci-fi top-down shooter focused on character progression and shooting both humans and aliens that stands in...
Wow,
She cut out.
we lost her. I think it was those friggin' aliens apparently took her.
Yeah, it looks like time just stopped where she is.
Yeah, it's like it's alien stuff.
Wow.
Well, we totally lost
So
her.
let me just pick
All
up.
right, Chris,
Here's
what is
a
this thing
sci-fi
about?
top-down shooter focused on character progression and shooting both humans and aliens that stands in your way to become most feared raider on Neptune planet. Blast your way through many exotic locations, collect mysterious artifacts, powerful relics, and shards of power to upgrade your characters, their equipment, and even the Lone Invader. Oh, the Lone Invader Tavern, which serves as a base of your marauding operations. This sounds way less badass. You can upgrade your Lone Raider. No, just as Tavern.
So, do
it's,
these people exist?
I'm just going to say they do exist. Their name is Lurker's Lair, and I'll leave it at that.
Awesome, because that's all we have, isn't it?
Yes, that is. Oh, yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad to know that
Segue smoothly.
we do such wonderful research, and I think Caitlin is back now, but we've already done that part, so sorry.
Rather slowly still.
So yeah, it's another space game. It's chaotic. It's insane. It's not actually in space, but it's sort of space. Fred, what do you think?
I'm super split on this. I'm super divided. I don't know. Well, let's look. We've got what do we have left? We have 4 games left, and how many did we say yes on right now?
We
We're
have
at
said
3.
yes on. We have said yes on 2 of them. Actually, we have a tie for Pharaoh Rebirth Plus, which still needs to be split. So, guys in the chat, look up the game, watch the trailer, or we'll get back to it and decide. But the rest of them we've said no. So we're okay.
It's already been reviewed. I believe this is a port.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna
I'm
say
back.
no,
Can
but
you see
it's
me again?
yeah,
Yes,
you're
we
back.
can.
Yeah, we
back.
see
Yeah.
you again.
I'm gonna say no, and it's not because I think this game doesn't deserve it. It's because I feel like there's some good stuff happening after that, and we're reaching our threshold. This is not, I don't know. This is. I have no comments. I'm just gonna say no. I'm just gonna
Okay.
say no.
Chris?
So it's funny because I was like really just I felt like I was defending that other game that looked like Metal Slug, which is just like Metal Slug but top down kind of.
Yeah.
Like it's the same gameplay. You're still doing the same similar thing, which is pointing in a direction and probably clicking. Well, some huge upgraded laser rifle with many missiles blows across 2/3 of your screen. And like games like this are really fun, but you get like 10 minutes of enjoyment out of this shit, and then it's over. And even maybe all the RPG mechanics in the world that upgrade your tavern isn't going to make it interesting enough. It does look really pretty. You got to give it that. Its art direction is clearly on point, and it has been getting good reviews from other places, so it makes me, think maybe it's got something to offer. But I can't feel like we just watched this game earlier at the beginning of the night, except as a side scroller instead of a top-down game.
Basically. So that's a split decision of no and no. Caitlin?
If we cover this and we don't cover Tiny Night, I'll punch someone.
And Caitlin is back to her homicidal ways. This is great.
And-
I think she actually disconnected the camera to smoke more crack.
Oh. You're going to walk
Fair
around.
enough.
She's like, sorry guys, gotta smoke
I
some
think
crack.
that's fair. So we've got I will kill. We've got no and a no. Sketch?
Sketch is catching up on Caitlin.
You guys ever play
I'm
Super
gonna-
Smash TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting
Yeah.
Smash
I'd
TV
rather play
vibes
that.
on this.
Sorry.
I'm kind of in agreement that we've already seen this before, and it's just top down. not to say, like Chris said, you know, it does look good, even though I find it odd a gunslinger doing a, like, looks like a bladed move that circles around it. But anyways, I would have to say no, just because this is kind of just something that that we're already gonna be reviewing, just that it's top down instead of side scroller.
Yeah, and Lunchbox in the chat actually pretty much says what I was thinking, is that we've seen too many of these things already. There are too many of these types of games out there. Just like what Chris said, it is basically the same game as what we saw, just in a different perspective. So I think we're probably going to say no.
I think for once in a while we're actually all
in agreement.
We're in agreement that this is not necessarily bad. It's just the fact that it's been done before.
And this type of game has been done more than any other type of retro game I think I've seen. Even back then, when they weren't retro, they were still new. I felt like this type of game was extremely prevalent and was really limited then.
And
so
it's still good that it's happening, right? Like, it's still good that you're introducing this type of games to the new generations of gamers. I'm not against it, and I feel like, if anything, this game is well produced. It's just I don't think that it's advantageous to us as a small company to spend time on this.
That's true. I think there's some 10-year-old that thinks this is the best thing that's ever been made.
If you're going to experience this for the first time, or this type of game, there's so many better ones that have done it that are already classic, like Smash TV. So we're going to move on to...
And it's in space.
Caitlin's going to love this one, since she just threatened to kill us all. It's 101 Ways to Die.
Oh, wait,
that was really happy.
The giveaway.
Wait, we have another giveaway. We already
gave away. It's the same one.
We're getting the results. We're gonna be
Caitlin just needs to kind of deliver on this.
We can't kill anyone yet. Go.
Can you handle
it? So because my internet died, I lost all of the chat like it did. Sorry, we're reconnected. So I need someone to tell me. I need someone to tell me the numbers.
No one said anything in the chat.
Actually, nobody
voted.
No?
All right, I put a number in.
Does no one want Broken Age? Throw in a number.
There, I voted 1.
No, you don't get to win.
Why don't you want our stuff, guys?
Yeah, I voted 1. It's like probably the least. Oh, we've got a 55, we've got a 75, we've got a 44, we've got an 80 for Broken Age. And we've got it from Princess Stitch. Caitlin, and the grand winner is...
Lunchbox, almost right on the mark.
Lunchbox, who we're happy to see in the channel, by the way. Thanks, Lunchbox. Appreciate you.
Anyway, so now we're going to get to killing people. So 101 Ways to Die. Caitlin.
Wasn't that a TV show?
No, that was 1,001 Ways to Die.
Close. Alright, in this puzzle platformer, you play as assistant to mad scientist Professor Splattenfuter, a scientist, inventor, and weapons manufacturer of questionable sanity. Nearing the end of his career, he devoted himself to a terrible recipe book focused on the death and destruction of his enemies, preferably using the most stylish methods possible. An unfortunate laboratory accident resulted in the destruction of the first draft. Now, it's down to you to assist him piece the fragments back together. The evil professor has grown vats full of helpless creatures known as splats that he is using to aid him in a range of awful experiments, which is where you come in. Using all your murderous creativity, a generous helping of weaponry, a passing knowledge of physics, and a large dose of violence to the poor helpless splats, you'll help the professor rewrite his classic book of recipes, titled 101 Ways to Die.
Chris, what we know?
Alright, so this is 4 Door Lemon Limited. And they say that they develop, provide, and support cutting-edge game and interactive media technology services, which are sold to gaming and other interactive media companies. Since formation in early 2005, they have developed and established a solid set of working practices, tools, and technologies for an efficient method of product development and management across all gaming platforms. Yes.
I just want to say that I've seen this before. It's Lemmings and Krusty Super Funhouse. But that's just my opinion. Fred.
No, next.
Chris.
Not interested.
I just want to take a point of order here. I'm not sure that we have the trailer running on our stream.
It was a few moments ago. I did notice, and then it went to that please like share.
I haven't had a chance to see the trailer, so I can't.
Okay.
I've been watching it on the stream.
Yeah, the trailer was running. Fred, can you rerun the trailer?
It's running. It's just got this long pause at the end where it's
Ooh,
oh, shit.
okay.
Yeah,
No
it's
wonder.
running. It's happening.
Okay, so we'll come back to Chris in a second. Caitlin, you saw the trailer, right? What do you think?
I'm not so into troubleshooter games, and I think this is what it is. I played one earlier in my lovely OPNoobs career called Human Resource Machine, where you had to try to get people to do things with programming, and this one, kind of, you're putting together recipes for death. And I'm like worried that it's the same. Like I'm worried that it's just a make them do things and watch.
That's fair. That's fair. Chris, it looks like you have seen it and you love it.
Yeah. It's almost like the moment I started watching this trailer go, I knew I would like this type of game. I used to be really into those like Incredible games when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember those, in the Incredible Toon Machine, and just building contraptions was some of my favorite things to do in games. Kind of like also like Kerbal Space Program is like a really fancy version of a contraption building game. And so I love those types of games. They're like physics-based, puzzle-based. I would really like this. And yeah, I see the Lemmings sort of comparison, but I think that the technology for gaming has evolved so much because of the physics engines we have now that it can really innovate on that gameplay style and make it, a better version of what it was than the Lemmings that we know.
Can I just say how much I love the PowerPoint slide at the end of the trailer? I just like the fact that they did that. Anyway, so we've got a no, we've got a Fred doesn't even want to bother wasting his energy on it, and we've got Sketch. What do you think?
Say yes.
I get a lot of Lemmings meets Oddworld. Then you kill.
I got a lot of Oddworld on that one, yeah.
I mean, I'm not seeing
Control your enthusiasm, but
I'm just not seeing where it constitutes a review. Like,
okay,
it kind of looks. It doesn't even look that good to me, honestly. Like, it just seems bland. And I mean, I guess if maybe you like puzzle-ish games, you might like it. But other than that, I just don't think it constitutes a review. And there's better games out there that are, like AAA title type of games that you'd be better off playing than this.
Yeah, so I think it's an overwhelming meh in the chat as well about this. I think Chris, I'm afraid you're the only odd man out on this one.
So this is the kind of game where I would like sit down, I would just play this for like 3 hours, and I'd get up and do
I would totally play it too, but I can see where Fred's coming from. Well, Fred didn't say anything. I can see where Sketch is coming from on this, simply because it doesn't look like it's ready yet. Just from a presentation standpoint, I'd still play it, but still. I mean, guy on the couch, we miss you.
We come back.
Just saying.
His opinion matters, damn it. He's a person.
It does.
Indiana Jones, these guys with giant, huge, like rolling balls, and then you can just like slam them around. And I also just really enjoy physics-based like games like this. Like I was that kid when they were 13 that like messed with all the ragdoll physics in like games like Max Payne, so I can make it as ridiculous as possible. And then I just blew people up to see where they land. So this might be just specifically for me.
And you grew up to be totally adjusted, right?
Yeah, just ask my girlfriend.
Yeah, right. The one in the closet or basement or anyway, we're going to move on before we get into felonies. We're going to get to the next game called Candlelight. Yeah, it's true. Caitlin, tell us about Candlelight, I guess.
A world cast into darkness. But there's hope. A lone candle must journey through a dangerous land to bring light back to the world. After a mysterious entity extinguishes all the candles in the land, a lone surviving candle sets out on a most important adventure to bring light back to the land. What?
Chris?
All right, well, so this is an interesting one. So this is Pixel Maverick Games. It's a single-person indie developer in Orlando, Florida, founded, funded, and run by industry veteran Rod Moy. After spending 13 years in the game industry working as lead designer and creative director for EA and Activision, I decided to give it a go independently and get back to the basics of creating interesting games without the creative restrictions of working for big publishers. That's badass. This guy's a fucking badass.
So, that being said, it is a very stripped down, very simplistic game. I mean, you're an anthropomorphic candle. I don't think we've played a candle yet. We played bread. We've played goats. We've played as balls.
Apples. Yeah.
Yeah, true. And now we're at Candle. Caitlin.
I played this game about light a couple months ago called Walk the Light, and I
Yeah.
reviewed it, and I feel so much like this is the platformer I would rather have played at that time, and even now. It's got this interesting gimmick of using light and being the light, and it's so like look at the depth, look at the lighting effects, look how beautiful that is. I'm sorry, I'm won over.
I agree.
Fred.
Okay, just a quick announcement first. We had a mess up. Lunchbox NYHC did not get the Broken Age game because we found that it was actually already redeemed. So to forgive ourselves, I gave away two of our best games. I sent you the keys. I messaged, and actually funny that you talked about bread because one of the games is I Am Bread, which we reviewed. Is supposed to be awesome, and the next game is Grav, which is also a more recent game. I think it came out just not so long ago, and is getting a lot of attention on Steam. So I hope you enjoy them. Lunchbox, I give you 2 games instead of 1.
Who cares? His name is Lunchbox, and he gets to be bread.
Sure.
This is perfect.
So, perfect. To get back on the game and to actually comment on the game. Caitlin, I don't know if you're recovering from whatever you did tonight, but you're making sense. This is well produced. This is looking good. Is it original? Absolutely not. Not original at all. But I'm a sucker for anything that's well designed, well put together. Like the artistry is definitely there, if that's even a word. I'm for reviewing this. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, this is probably the only time that God Rays should be in this game. We've seen that used a lot, but yeah, I think that's pretty much unanimous. Even the guy on the couch probably would give a thumbs up if he were here. We miss you
if
still.
he didn't crash
If he didn't
miserably.
Chris.
It was funny. I was getting these like Donkey Kong Country vibes off this at one point, and also like mostly because of these like cool jungle backgrounds, and like maybe it's the graphic style a little bit of the trees or something. But one of the things I love about side scrollers, good side scrollers, is when they really do the graphics in the background. They mix well with the foreground and sort of where the actual gameplay is happening. And this, you can tell this guy, like having worked for EA and Activision, he's done this for a while. You can tell that he knows what works and what doesn't in gameplay elements as well as style elements. And the fact that he managed to pull all this together by himself is probably the best one-man job I've seen.
I just know that Alucard's gonna play this all night long.
I certainly hope so. Either that, or I mean, he better stop playing, the Division. Put that down and play this. So.
No. I think he'll play both. He'll play this and Rocket League and Division all at the same time, just to make sure he's got everything. So that's a unanimous yes. There's no other question about it.
It's so cool.
I totally want to get this fella on an interview for certain. Find out more about his experience. So we're gonna move on to the next one. We've only got 2 left. We're actually gonna end on time.
Yeah, but actually notice something, Steven, is that out of all the games we picked in our new model to cover less but go more in depth into the games, the chances that we get interviews and get all those games on Twitch, pretty damn high.
You heard it here first, folks. We've spoken in plain sight.
That is true. So we're gonna get to the last 2. Caitlin, Shadow's Peak, which sounds...
Shadow's Peak is a story-driven atmospheric horror game focused on exploration. You play as a writer who decided to visit a mysterious place called Shadow's Peak to gather materials for a new book about legends. Be warned, Shadow's Peak will not hold your hand.
Chris?
And so I feel this is just it's funnily written. It's almost like a pen pal introductory level letter. It says, "Hi."
What you say, son?
Yeah, it says, "Hi!" exclamation point. My name is Andrii Vintsevych, and I am an independent game developer. I've started my journey into world of independent game development as part-time endeavor, but at the moment I'm a full-time indie developer with a handful of finished commercial games for different platforms. Right now I'm mainly focused on creation of independent horror games for personal computer. In a previous life, I was an active mod map maker for different 2D and 3D games. Some of my Counter-Strike maps had to take prizes in different mapping competitions. before going independent, I was working in a game industry as game designer for 5 years. I had worked on those titles before going indie. It's funny because he says that he's a part-time independent game developer, but also a full-time independent game developer, which I thought was kind of funny.
So he exists, sorta, kinda, and all the time, which is interesting.
Well, he had worked on those titles before going indie. He did say that. Whatever.
Well, before we knock on the interesting description, obviously English is probably not the first language.
I know. I try to bring a little fun to it.
But that being said, hi, Alan Wake. I didn't know you were coming back so soon. But still, yeah, that's exactly what I got from just the title. I was thinking, this sounds like an Alan Wake. Oh, it really does. Fred.
No. I'm gonna say no. And it's kind of surprising that I say no because typically, historically, I've always kind of wanted to engage any game that's well put together. This looks pretty impressive, but I honestly have to say, after doing this type of stuff for a year now, we've seen this a lot.
There's a lot of walking sims.
Like a lot of walking sims, reasonably decent. Like Alan Wake, you made me laugh quoting it because that's actually kind of the prime example of a game well done when it comes to that specific genre. But I want to say no because it's if we said no on the arcade-ish game that looked very well produced, very fast paced, then I feel like we should keep the same mentality here and say it's not that it's bad. It's definitely not bad. It's great, but at the same time it's very much at the heart of a trend that is somewhat uninteresting, I want to say.
I feel like this is a first-person... Yeah, I feel like this is Alan Wake with a first-person mod to it. So I'm not saying that's bad either. And I gotta interject.
I want to dig in, though. My thought is the fact that what does the indie scene do for the gaming industry as a whole? And I'm sorry if I sound a little bit nasal. I'm kind of getting sick. The indie scene brings innovation to... It plugs in innovation into the industry as a whole, and that's why we love it. That's why we encourage it. That's why we support it. So when I see a game that actually is very well produced, but at the same time really isn't injecting anything new, I kind of want to say no. I kind of want to say I don't think we should spend time on covering it because it doesn't serve much. It doesn't add anything to the industry as a whole. And
I gotta interrupt. I now recognize this name. I have played the game that Chris had linked in the chat. It is a game called Gynophobia.
You played that game? Wow.
I have played it because I hate myself. I hate myself so much. I have played this game, and I want to just say how terrible that game was. It was a game where you are afraid to open the door because there's a woman on the other side, and you go into this weird...
It's a game about overcoming an abnormal fear of women. And apparently, by the way you do that is by confronting vampiric, blood-laden women who are only wearing lingerie.
Yes. It is bad. It is so bad that there are a number of Let's Plays on YouTube just bouncing around, and they all look as bad as it seems. It's bad. It's bad. So suddenly, here's that weird dichotomy of the guy that made this, which looks exceedingly better. So, oh god, Caitlin, go.
Okay, so as you guys know, I wait each week for horror games because they are my favorite. They are. I love them. I love to play them.
You should consider breaking up with Gary and marrying Eli.
So when one of these comes up, I would instantly want to cover it because of my own personal bias. But honestly, let's focus on what's best. And I want to plug in. We just did an interview with the guys who developed Pesadelo Regressal, and that game was so good. And it was nostalgic, but there was so much of it that was actually very different. If you want to play a horror game that is from the first person for the first quarter of the year so far, I urge you guys to go play that.
If you can spell it. But yes, you should. I agree. I saw that interview. It was fun. It was a great game. I'll just, as the horror aficionado here, I totally support that, but this
No.
I know I'm supposed to be impartial, but gynophobia, that thing came from this guy's mind. This is guilt by association for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, Fred, have you clicked the link? Click the link.
I haven't, because I have all my screens utilized for production right now. It's a living nightmare. I actually had to send the Steam key to the guy on my cell phone. It was a nightmare. And I found out that Humble Bundle does not have a responsive website.
Yeah, they don't, Fred. They don't.
It's like Humble Bundle. We get it's charity, but it's still 2016, man. Get on with it.
But I gotta agree with. I haven't even played Gynophobia, and I just took one look at that and I go, man, anyone that makes this, they can't make anything that's gonna be, I would say, acceptable for normal, consumption in public.
Human consumption? No. But that being said, I will say that gynophobia was a thing that existed, and I'm sorry it does. But this looks far better, far superior, even if it is just a walking simulator with a flashlight.
Okay,
it is
so
polished.
what? I mean, so what? I hate to be the guy that says,
But-
so what, it looks good.
No, I agree.
But
no
the thing is
blocking.
gynophobia, man. I can't get past that. I cannot legitimize
No,
this,
but that's
even
my
if it
point.
looks good.
It's my point.
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make, is even though it looks good, that doesn't legitimize why we should cover it.
I feel like I've agreed so many times with Steven tonight. I feel like I should worry.
Yeah, go play Pescadillo, whatever it is. I'm sorry, because I can't.
I guess so.
What was that, Brazilian?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't
fala
pronounce it.
português.
I can't.
Can we skip to the very last trailer? And before we do so, Caitlin,
we can't skip it. It's the last trailer.
Now, can we skip to it? Caitlin,
no.
It's your time to give away the game of the day. The game of the day is... what's it called?
Wasteland 2
It's
Director's
in
Cut.
the trailer, folks. It's in the title.
That one.
There
Wasteland
you go.
2 Director's Cut, a $40 value for you guys having suffered the show for an hour and a half. Caitlin,
Oh,
do you have the magic number?
Yes.
I'm not gonna look at that number, but I'm gonna guess anyway.
I've always wanted to play this game too. Apparently, Eli just fired me in chat. That's great.
Awesome.
Alright, plug in your magic number, and in the meantime, before Caitlin delivers Wasteland 2 Director's Cut to the lucky winner, we are going to play the very last trailer, and I'm going to pass the mic back to Steven.
Thank God. Hey, Fred, if you've been fired, does that mean that we can start covering Nintendo now?
Yeah, do what the fuck you want to do, man.
All right. Awesome. Chris,
Sweet.
so
Retroblog.
since you're in charge, you're going to start streaming 24 hours of Legend of Zelda, right?
Yes, only
I love the
me
release.
just taking copies of the Micro Machines game
I love
and
the
taking
moment
copies
of-
of Mario and beating the
I
Micro
love
Machines.
the moment
Awesome.
of release. I've been wanting to do this for years.
You know how charities do streams of Desert Bus? We can do streams of Virtual Boy games.
I will totally participate in a Desert Bus stream.
Hey, can we focus on France, please?
No, we can't focus on France. Oh, I guess we should focus on France.
Yes, you should, buddy.
Wait,
So-
in France?
You've
Well, I
already
guess-
been playing French games all week.
Oh, it's called
Alucard.
Revolution.
This is entirely true, and again, if Trump wins, we're all going to have to brush up on our French and move to Quebec. So we're going to talk about Revolution. Yay.
Alright, so say in
Caitlin, what is
French,
Revolution?
La Révolution.
Well, we're
We
not in
received-
French, man.
You receive a call from Hope, a woman trapped inside a mysterious totalitarian state. Hacking into an elaborate surveillance network, you guide Hope through a web of danger and deception across 5 thrilling episodes. Developed over 5 years by industry veterans who created Metal Gear Solid 4, Halo 4, Fear, Black and White 2, and SOCOM,
All bad
and fully
games.
realized in Unity 5, Republique is a thrilling and topical stealth action game that explores the perils of government surveillance in the internet age.
Oh, so
Chris,
so
before we get black bagged,
well, as they love to keep constantly pointing out in their own game description, they are founded by former Halo 4 creative director and Metal Gear Solid 4 producer Ryan Payton. Camoflaj is a Seattle-based boutique game studio. comprised of industry veterans from such award-winning franchises as Fear, Red Dead Redemption, and SOCOM. Camoflaj is a nimble team of experienced developers and talented newcomers dedicated to bringing the high-quality, focused game experiences to the broadest possible audience and name-dropping. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Unfortunately, the name they dropped is the worst Metal Gear out of the whole damn series.
And Halo
quick
4,
fact,
Metal
quick
Gear
fact,
4,
this is
SOCOM,
not the full game, and we may be late on the train wagon here. It's episode 4, so...
Okay, so it's an episodic game.
Episode 4, got it.
All right, so anyway, that being said, though, I mean, we are kind of late to the game, obviously, since we're looking at a trailer for an already established game. Apparently, it'd be awesome if we looked at the other episodes. No, Caitlin, we did not cover the other episodes. This is one that was added at great expense and at the last minute by Fred.
Great expense.
Great expense. So much expense. So the problem is, it's like jumping into a series midstream, so we don't know a lot about it, to be honest with you. Fred, why did you pick this out of curiosity?
I love the wallpaper.
What jumped at you? You love the wallpaper.
Here,
He's just thinking of publishing this once we review it.
Something happened to
this game came out, or this episode came out February 26th of 2015.
What is happening now?
I just had
Fred,
to
what's
do
going on the video,
I don't
man?
know, it popped on my Twitter. I just had to do it.
Oh God, no! And we lost
This was
all ability.
We're back. So,
Fred,
Nothing happened. It's not the
Fred,
it's not the
did you
Academy
just
Awards.
seriously Trump roll us all right now?
I saw him on my YouTube. I was like, I gotta do it. All right, back to La Republique. Talking about the Republic, I felt like it was contextual.
Oh yeah, that's really funny.
It's the wallpaper, right? I'm
You're
gonna get
an
liquor
asshole.
after this. I'm sorry.
Can I say something? Vo? Can I say
Yes,
can I
go
say
for it.
something about La Republique? Okay, so here's the thing. The fact is, this might be a game where people, it's episode 4, so obviously people have played episode 1, 2, 3. Do you need to show that much on a trailer, considering like probably a lot of people are eager to play episode 4? I'm not. And the fact that I see a trailer which gives me very, very little, what's being given to me is honestly not all that impressive. I'm not sold. I'm not excited. I don't think, and I feel like you shouldn't have to advertise the fact that you are industry veterans from Halo 4 and what the F not to sell a game that's isolated from all of that. You shouldn't have to do it. The game should speak for itself, and we see that a lot. We see that a lot when people who got fed up or fired from the AAA scene, whatever the reason, walk into the indie scene. I would feel it like it'd be a little bit more aristocratic, for lack of a better word, and especially after having shown Donald Trump on TV. It would be a little bit more aristocratic to not make note of it, and in your trailer, from a PR standpoint, focus on the game itself.
Yeah, I actually do have to agree with that, and not only because I do appreciate the fact that this is made by apparently a team of industry professionals. The problem that I have is, again, it was the worst Metal Gear out of the entire series. I don't know if you want to name drop that. I appreciate that they mentioned Fear, and I appreciate that they mentioned Halo and all that other stuff. But your past exploits doesn't mean anything.
It's also.
Let me agree with you, man. Your past
but
exploits don't mean squat when you're presenting stuff like
that
this.
you were part of a massive team that made a game.
I agree.
It's basically it's taking us for idiots, and I don't like that. I don't like when you say, "Well, I came out from the studio who released that game." What does it mean? Maybe you were the guy making coffee in that studio at the time, and you could still make that a quote. Like, it doesn't tell me anything if you were the creative director of Halo, of the original Halo, or if you were the guy who came up with The Witcher. And that was actually you. It was your project. Then I'm all for you selling it, walking out of some big studio and walking into the indie scene. But just to quote it plainly, hey, I used to be in that studio. I'm an industry veteran, and I'm doing my own thing. That's not enough to be a bargaining tool to convince me as a consumer to spend money on a game. And I feel like you shouldn't even bring it up.
Yeah, and well, just from the look of it, it looks like outdated graphics anyway. So, Caitlin, before you take off.
Okay, we are not here to talk about the the developer being,
No, we're
I don't
not.
know, egotistic. Okay, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to
Kind
talk
of.
about, should
No,
we
we're not.
review this? Should we cover it? Here's the thing, it's an episodic game. And when you want to read a review, you want to read a review because you want to know whether or not you should play it. If we were going to review this, we should have reviewed episode 1. Because by now, people know whether or not they want to play it.
Not necessarily, because
I hate when she makes sense.
that's not necessarily true, because I played Wolf Among Us. I loved Wolf Among Us, but it wasn't until episode 3 that it got really good, is the problem. So it's one of those things where with episodic games, you kind of have to take a risk. It's almost like Russian roulette, where you kind of have to take a risk. One episode might be crap, the next one might be good. Like Telltale's Jurassic Park, all of that was crap. And yet, previous games that they did were good. And then, you know, they decided to hop on the Game of Thrones train.
So do you
and
think we should
Minecraft.
cover it? Do
No.
you think we should cover this?
I don't think so, because honestly, I don't know enough about it to really know. But what I'm seeing is that if it started out strong, this is not very strong at all. Not because I don't know the story, but because it looks like a mediocre PS1 game. Chris?
I wouldn't go as far as to say PS1, but I was feeling the kind of like PS2,
PS2.
Xbox. Yeah, but the thing is, you get these moments where like
Right there.
the graphics are super fly and they look really good, and then you get these other moments where the graphics look like they've completely crumbled. And I wonder if some of the folks that they've gotten, you know, from all these other games are actually just console developers who got rejected by the system because they're not as good anymore. And so they went to the PC section and went and made a game. Again, this is like massive speculation. But I just can't not look at this and think, man, this looks like Xbox, maybe between Xbox 360 if a console is there. And that's just kind of strange to me. That
like
you have graphics like so perfectly centered in that era. And then I also just want to take one more step, or one more second to say I agree with Caitlin that it's tricky to like review one out of a series and not the rest of the series. I mean, I don't think that you have to be like, oh, we have to review every single one, but it would have helped to at least review the first one. And without having reviewed at least one other in the series, excuse me, it's just really hard for us to like be able to make a good review, I think.
I appreciate that they have solid voice talent. They've got Jennifer Hale and David Hayter, but still. Sketch.
Okay. If you have four episodes of a game and you're 4 in, and I still haven't heard of this game until today, there's something wrong. You are doing something wrong. So therefore, how you have been able to make 4 of these is beyond me. So honestly, I don't think it constitutes a review, especially you know, since we haven't done any of the others. Why would we do this one? And then the fact that I haven't heard of it, which means probably a lot of other people haven't heard of it, just, you know, kind of puts it out there that it's probably just not a good game. And regardless if they got, you know, experienced people behind it, there's a reason they are not in the positions they were once in. And this is obviously evidence of that.
That's probably fair. And Fred, the other thing that actually kind of amuses me about the fact this was picked, and Chris did the research, this is kind of a mobile game. It's also on Android.
Is it?
Yeah. And we know how much you love
Not
those
even any
mobile
research.
ports.
It just says on the screen, now on Android.
That's research, Chris.
Yes. I did
but
open
yeah.
my eyes. I did that much.
I mean, I have to agree with Caitlin, but just on the other standpoint of, just forget the fact that we haven't seen, don't you put Trump back on there.
No, I don't know what happened. I guess
that
I
this
was just
game-
bored with the current conversation.
We're going to get a copyright.
It's
We're
just
probably going to
too
get a
much-
very sternly worded
It's still
letter
too
from
much
CNN.
fun.
But anyway, the fact of the matter is this. Even though we haven't reviewed any of the other games in the series, or any of the other episodes or whatever, it does not look like a game that should have any space on the site as far as I'm concerned, because it just doesn't look all that great. If we really want episodic, we'll go to your favorites, Fred. We'll go to Telltale. But until then, I just don't see it as being I just overwhelmingly ugh, I think.
So
and
the
I think
question
the
is,
people in the chat also agree. from the looks of it.
Yeah, did we pick 5 at the end of the day tonight? I believe we did.
We did.
I think, but just 5, not one more.
Surprisingly, we did.
Wait!
Yeah.
We have a tie, still, for Pharaoh Rebirth Plus. The one that Caitlin said, meh, we shouldn't do it. So we have a tie, so we have to figure out... Fred, can you cue up that Pharaoh trailer again, play it, and then we're just going to say we're going to do it.
I actually really can't because I closed the window.
Sunny night.
So I
Sunny
couldn't
night.
retrieve it without effing up the production. I can't.
So that means we've only picked 4. Unless we're going to say that we're going to break the tie, but we have to do it legitimately.
So out of all the ones,
Why don't we just break
I
I'd
would
say if we have a slot, I think we should do it. You know.
Well, we have a slot.
you mean we should do Republic?
Yeah,
Why don't
no.
we
No,
just
we're
break
gonna do
the time
Pharaoh.
today?
Okay, then let's do Pharaoh. Of course we do Pharaoh. The one
Yeah.
that Caitlin said it wasn't good and actually looked great. Yeah, we should do Pharaoh.
So that's what we're gonna do because that makes it
Sorry,
fun.
Caitlin.
I was with
So-
Dan. We should do Tiny Night.
Then
Sunny
over.
night.
Tiny Night.
Caitlin can
We'll
do
buy it and stream it
for
just to
Tiny
spite them.
But anyway, that being said, Fred, are we gonna do a giveaway or no?
Yes, well, it's Caitlin's decision. I've got everything ready on my mobile.
Are you sure you didn't close it?
No,
All
I
right.
got it. I'm ready. I'm ready to roll.
Fred, what is going on, man?
I'm ready
We're
to
watching
roll.
the
I'm
game.
doing the
You
production.
have
Stylomax went into a job conference. So...
We're watching a weird.
Oh.
You saw a camera ad.
No,
I-
here we go. It's
We're watching his Shetland pony run
It's
across
actually the Android gameplay of Republic. So
Oh,
right down your
okay.
alley.
Fun stuff, I guess. Caitlin, pick a number.
I already picked one and
She
we already
already
put
did
it
it.
in
She-
chat. It is, okay, the winner is Light Masa. Because
Light
the number is 10. I put it in Skype.
Aw. Yay! Light Masa, you win! You win Wasteland 2. Yay! Jerk.
Time to get wasted.
Man, yep. And she should have already got into game.
Nice. So, the final thoughts on the crazy lineup that we saw. So, we said yes to Prio. We said yes to My Tower, My Home. We said yes to Pharaoh Rebirth Plus, regardless of what Caitlin says. And we said yes to, definitely, to Candlelight. And that's basically going to be it. So, Fred, any final thoughts?
Well, I guess we'll have to pick a 5th game for the weekly rotation, but let's hope that we get all of these guys on Twitch this week and that we get a couple streams playing the games and that we get a couple great reviews that we can really finesse and get on the site. And I'm looking forward to an exciting week. On a side note, very important to note, next Wednesday, not this Wednesday, but the next one, Rise of the Indie Episode 3 with Kate Edwards, Executive Director of the International Game Developers Association, and quite a few developers to talk about competitive gaming from the indie scene. Lots of giveaways, lots of good talks, fantastic show that I'm excited to host with Steven, with Chris, and with whoever else wants to be part of that conversation. So please come and tune in. We'll send, obviously, check your phone on Wednesday, follow us on Twitch. You'll get the notification. Tune in, support us, and thanks for being part of OPN.
Oh, hey, wait, we're doing a thing with esports, aren't we, Chris?
Esports? What's esports?
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's that thing we do.
We absolutely are. We that's right. Thank you for reminding me. We've got the Red Solstice community tournament. It's coming up on April 16th to 17th. It's going to be awesome. The Red Solstice is a sweet game. Everyone go to Steam right now and buy it and check it out and play it. You will not regret it. And if you'd like to register for the tournament, go to OPNoobs.com. Click over to E4I. You'll see a link for the Red Solstice community tournament. Go ahead and click that, and the rest will be evident when you get there. Please go register. All are welcome, and we can't wait to have you.
Awesome. So, that being said, from all of us at OPNoobs, and all of you that are actually part of OPNoobs watching, and those of you that aren't part of OPNoobs watching, if you do want to be part of OPNoobs, all you gotta do is go to the site, sign up for an account, and then if you want to review stuff, let us know. If you want to write stuff, let us know. If you want to be on these shows, let us know. Basically, you just let us know.
Talk to
That's
us. We'd love to have you.
really all it is.
I started
We're-
the
I was going to say,
jazz
Steve,
way
how
too
long can
early
we keep
tonight.
talking so I can just keep Fred doing this for a while?
No,
I
we're
started
gonna keep
way
doing.
too early tonight.
You know, that's the fun part. I didn't want to let Fred know since he decided to Trump roll us twice on this show.
And next week, we are burn rolling you.
No, because no one can find Bernie. Before we get into the politics, let's get the hell going. So, from all of us at OPNoobs, we hope you join us next time. Jazz hands.
I'm the one who turns it off tonight. All right.
You are. Don't forget to do that shit. Nope. Keep going.